What's up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my own new review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Let's get into it. Melody, she stops by Tiffany's home to check in on her. A lot has happened at the spa. Voices were raised. They were cussing. Tiffany is pregnant, and she was arguing as well. But she wanted to make sure she was cool, calm, and stress free because Tiffany is 8 months pregnant and is about to due any minute. So, wondering how Melody has been doing. You've been so busy. Yes, she has been busy, but that's why she accepted the spa event. So that way it could be nice, cool, calm. But that's not how it turned out. It turned out a lot of back and forth, a lot of cussing, a lot of fighting. And Melody did not want to be a part of that. So she wanted to know how can they improve as a group. So I think that I should plan a high tea. I can bring an etiquette coach that can teach us how to communicate effectively. And along with bringing this etiquette coach, we can use tools on how to communicate respectfully and effectively, learn how to disagree on things. We don't have to always agree on things. We can express our feelings, express our concerns, and we move on properly without any voices raised, any unresolved feelings lingering over, holding grudges. We can literally move on. That everybody was able to talk out their issues, talk out their problems respectfully. Tiffany said that after the spa, she felt that her blood pressure was raised up because she said that Kiki brought her down to that level and that she should not have met Kiki at that level and partaked in that. I had to look at Tiffany and say, wait a minute, Tiffany, look at yourself first. You was already on 10 when you were talking about your issue with Kiki. And Kiki met you with that energy, told you since you don't know how her and Tisha's friendship was and their family dynamic, then you should be quiet because you weren't there. You don't know everything. And you ended up agreeing with that because you don't know everything. You don't know how a big family operates. You don't have a lot of siblings or cousins. So since you don't know that there are sometimes family can disagree with family, family can have arguments, sometimes family can betray family. Family members can be extremely grimy. And since you don't know that, you should stay seated. Just stay seated, okay? Um, but other than that, she was surprised that Melody showed up because Tisha and Melody have not been in a good place, but they're starting over. When Kimmy brought them together, they wanted to start over, be more cordial, and Melody has been doing her part. Tisha invited her to the spa event. Melody invited Tisha and her daughter to Mariah's birthday because their daughters used to be really close. Tiffany asked, did Martell come? He came uninvited. 15 minutes before the party started, Melody had Mariah call her father so he can wish her a happy birthday. No, she called Martell so he can wish Mariah a happy birthday. Now, considering that Melody went out of her way to still include him in calling his daughter on her actual birthday, he wanted to have a separate conversation after that. Literally to cause an argument by asking her why didn't she invite him to the birthday party? Why did you invite everybody else but the father? Wasn't about to entertain him. She hung up on him. Click, I ain't about to deal with that. But then the party was over. Remember last episode, Martell wanted to express his grievance about how he's the daddy. He should always be there to celebrate his kids' birthdays. Melody wanted to call him out on that. So she said, let's call your father so we can know when he's coming to get you so you can hang out with him. Melody plays a recording to Tiffany about Mariah asking her father, are you coming to get me today? He said, no, baby, I'm going to get you Monday. Melody wanted extra confirmation of the recording, so you're not coming to get her today. No, I'm not coming to get her today, Melody. I'm going to get her Monday. All that hooping and hollering you did, that took about 30 minutes outside with Miss Van, another family member, and Melody, how you're their father. I should be there for my kids on their birthdays. I should always be there for my kids on their birthdays. She called you out on it. You were called to task to see if you're gonna live up to what you just said. You wanted to be involved in your daughter in your daughter's birthday, right? You should always be invited, always be included to everything your kids do, right? Especially when it comes to their birthdays. Here it goes. Mel. Oh, really? It's gonna be Monday? Monday's probably when your week starts to have the kids. Listen, Martell, what was the point of all this? I'm laughing because it's hilarious. The same man who stays in confessionals talking about him and Mel should always be on the same page when it comes to the children, how he should always be included. If you and Mel were in a much better place, she would have no problem inviting you to spend holidays, birthdays, vacations. Tried that, remember? Didn't work. It wouldn't have been a problem. But since you don't respect Mel's boundaries of, I don't want you there, and you're trying to take my kids away. So I don't want you here right now. Let me have this time with them, please. Okay? All that screaming you did to want to be with your kids on your birthdays. You should always have them on their birthdays. When Melody gave you the opportunity to spend time with your daughter while it was still her birthday, I get you Monday, baby. That's a typical father who doesn't want to be part of their kids' lives but want to act like I'm showing up to be their daddy. And Martell, you do not want that narrative placed upon you, but you always want to use the children to control Mel, and that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work, okay? And when she said, after the recording was done, Tiffany said, why does he always says it's you? He always repeats it's male, because he's manipulative and an asshole. Then she says, I wish I could have had my kids by a man, not a queen. Meaning Martell has had some bitch made moments. He's been acting like a little bee because when he doesn't get his way, he yells, he has a temper tantrum, he says things out of pocket, out of line, oversteps boundaries. Like, this is what we see. And I ain't got time for this. I don't. I absolutely don't. Martell wants to be in the mindset, since him and Mel are divorced, they should still be on the same page with the kids. If you would let go of Mel not taking you back, let go of the fact that Mel doesn't want to be with you anymore. She wants to move forward to only be in a co-parent relationship with you. She wants to at least be friends, but you take that and run. So she's going to stay her distance, okay? Moving on. Kimmy and Maurice. Kimmy is cooking dinner. Maurice is talking about coming down on Junior to do his homework when he doesn't want to do it and when he needs to do it. Kimmy has her challenges of getting Junior to clean up his room, and he doesn't listen. So hearing that Maurice is hearing that Kimmy doesn't have it down packed to be much more of a disciplinarian for his son. He's looking at her like, so you gonna give up? You just gonna let him walk all over you? Like he's walking all over you. But Kimmy said, is that what you think I do? So at the same time, Maurice is carrying so much pressure on Kimmy to discipline his son when Kimmy said, you don't do that yourself. You don't enforce rules. You don't enforce authority. You don't enforce any type of discipline, but you expect for Kimmy to do it all? Because that's what I'm getting. I'm getting that he expects for Kimmy to be more of a disciplinarian and for Maurice to be what? The laxico daisy father, the friend, the best friend, the fun parent. It's your son. You wanted him to live with you because you wanted him to have more of a tougher upbringing or be prepared for the real world. You wanted him to have that time with you, but you're expecting for Kimmy to take over that? Miss me, Maurice. And when it comes down to Kimmy saying something to Junior for him to do it, when he doesn't listen, that's when Maurice needs to step up and say, hey, Junior, didn't you hear Kimmy tell you to take out the trash? Isn't it your time to rake the leaves? We shouldn't have this conversation again, sir. Go ahead and do that. She can't even rely on him to back her up for that. And he's like, so you want me to step up when you say do this? Yes, it's what you're supposed to do. Maurice is a waste of space. I swear. Like, you don't even back her up. Like, oh my God. Seriously, Kimmy is the step parent. Like, Kimmy is the bonus parent. She is the step parent, which means there's a line that she really can't cross with disciplining Junior. While Maurice and Kyle are the biological parents, that's the respect that Junior needs to give them. And when he sees Junior give respect to Maurice, that will also teach him to give respect to Kimmy when she tells him to wash the dishes, clean your room, put your clothes away, pick up your shoes. I shouldn't have to repeat myself more than once, but you should already know what to do. Okay? And even in the confessional, she's saying it's such a fine line when you are a bonus parent to someone else's child that I cannot do the things I would normally do when it comes to my own son. And Maurice don't like that statement. Well, tough cookies, nigga. Tough cookie. That's your son. Okay? You had that baby with Kyle. Y'all implement the rules. And like she said, you guys are the biological parents, which means your rules, the way you discipline your son, overshadows mine, which is how it's supposed to go. And I follow suit. I follow how you guys talk to him. I follow how you guys are raising him. And I follow what rules we're enforcing. I follow that. So right now, Maurice is not implementing any discipline to Junior. and he's walking all over him, walking all over Kimmy. But Maurice is having such a problem with why is he walking all over Kimmy? Because you're not being the forceful parent, Maurice. You're not stepping in and enforcing your son to be respectful, to listen to you and to Kimmy. Like, what do you like? What? I have no idea. So Maurice is not taking any accountability nor responsibility that he's is dropping the ball of raising his son and wants to call Kiowa to be in the mix. And then wait, before he calls Kiowa, right? He wants to gaslight her and piss her off by saying, I think that you held back on enforcing rules on Junior because of your relationship with Kiowa. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? You mean to tell me that Kiowa didn't like Kimmy, which had nothing to do with Junior? So the fact you want to place it as women bickering, women getting into it, versus them coming together for the sake of the baby, I'm not finna fool with you, Maurice, in that logic. I'm not finna fool with you. Like, you are just like your brother. You guys share the same mind. You guys don't accept accountability. You guys don't look at yourselves and wonder where y'all messing up at. It's always somebody else. That's the problem. Somebody else who's doing something wrong, but you guys are never like, hello, mirror. You guys never look at yourselves in the mirror or where you're falling behind. So since he don't want to accept the fact that he's dropping the ball of raising his own son, but wants to place that responsibility on Kimmy, he wants to call Kiowa. Don't know why you want to call her, because it shouldn't be an issue to call her, and she shouldn't be even involved in this conversation. And like she said, stop saying that I have an issue with enforcing rules or disciplining Junior has anything to do with Kiowa, because it don't. My issue is with you. She told him straight to his face, I have an issue with you not backing me up, not enforcing any rules on your own son, but you want me to do it. The hell? So FaceTiming her, telling everything, she's like, boy, oh, I swear she wanted to cuss him out so much. I think that Maurice lucked up. I think that Maurice lucked up with finding Kimmy, because he would have been a deer caught in headlights on how to raise his own son. So when Kimmy came with a grown son out of college, no debt, he figured, gotcha, jackpot. Now somebody else can take over this part, because I don't know what the hell I was going to do to raise him by myself. And that's exactly what it's showing. It's showing Kimmy be more of a disciplinarian, be more of a parent to someone else's child. Maurice, that's your son. You wanted him to live with you for the remainder of his years before he goes out to the real world. You want him to live with you through high school, on to college, and you want to prepare for him, but you're not doing that. You're saying it, and that's where the Sky Brothers piss me off at. You guys love using soliloquies and speeches and have monologues of how it is for a black man to live in this world, but yet you guys do not inflict any of that actual lesson. Y'all just say it. Y'all get such a profound energy of saying it when you guys don't do it. That's annoying to me. So when Maurice thought that so when he asked Kyle or told Kyle whatever that was said, Kyle was on Kimmy's side. She is operating in the mindset that we are raising Monster right now, and she's just doing the same thing. That's how she's supposed to do it. But also, if she is enforcing rules that you should automatically do, and he's not listening to her, then you need to back her up. Because she can understand that Kimmy is following how you guys are raising Monster, but she also has to receive the same respect when she's telling him to do the same things. Telling him to clean his room, do his homework, take out the trash. That's something he already knows what to do with his mother. But since his father don't put his foot down and discipline his own son, he wants to look at the wife as the problem. Since Junior doesn't show any respect to Kimmy, he ain't gonna show no respect to Maurice. She was not about to raise someone else's child after she raised hers, which meant that Junior was your responsibility this entire time, but Kimmy took over anyway. And you expected for her to do that. Because you Scotsmen believe that y'all need to do anything else but provide and speak wisdom, but don't put action behind it. Don't put no action. Y'all just like to say stuff because it sounds good. It's annoying. I'm not doing this. I'm not. I can't. Moving on. Stormy. Stormy invited Kiki for Reiki. That's never been done before. But I also wish that we would have gotten a separate meetup that led to this type of meeting up because I didn't like how Stormy came at Kiki at the spa event. And the reason why we're having this particular moment is because Stormy felt like we need to cleanse out negative energy and that she might have misjudged her. I wanted an actual conversation of why the Storm misjudged Kiki. That would have been more of a like, oh, okay, then I must really enjoy this initial meetup. Um, uh, Kiki has never done this before, but she's open to try new things because she's religious. They meet their spiritual cleanser who opens up with being a child of God. That makes Kiki look at her like, really? So, can you explain the difference of being a child of God and also being with spirits, crystals, Reiki? Like, because people could say that could be blasphemous to the eyes of the Lord. And she didn't answer it, but says that people who thinks like that have not read the Bible thoroughly. And what she does is she has a gift of energy transference, so she can, heal you without having to touch you and feel the energy through your chakras. I don't know much about Reiki, but as far as having a spiritual cleanse, I'm all about meditation, crystals, sound bowls, you know what I'm saying? But I have no idea what Reiki actually implies, and does it cross the lines with the Bible? Just asking. So when she was feeling through Stormy's energy, she said that she overthinks. She moves with purity. And when she's in a good place, she wants to come from a good space of energy, which makes Stormy cry because she cries a lot. Stormy is extremely sensitive. I feel like I'm annoyed by it because I'm also sensitive as well. I cry instantly. For real, for real. I need tissue everywhere whenever I am feeling overly overwhelmed with emotion, and she wants her to be in a space of positivity. As much as I want Stormy to not cry so much, I can't help that because I cry like that too. But it's just kind of like, what else puts you in that space where you gotta cry? You being extremely sensitive to have a business meeting with your staff without you crying, and now we got this. But when we got to Kiki, she said she's a champion. Her words have power. You speak things into existence. You are living proof that your words can carry a lot of weight. Your words can carry power, which is the truth. Power lies with the tongue. And Kiki says words do have power. She tries to uplift. She tries to be positive and let people live their natural lives. She tries. So it was nice. It was over. Never done this before. And both Kiki and Stormy can resonate having the same type of personalities. Because everything that Stormy told Kiki at the spot event, how if I felt like you said enough, you could tell me to be quiet. And da da da. Kiki could not come back with that because she was right. And whenever Stormy does curse, it's not cussing that she's mad. It's just how she's talking. She's very passionate when she talks. And when she talks, it's a cuss word. And she figures since that's how she talks, Kiki wouldn't take no offense to that. And that's what Kiki ended up saying. I really could not take offense to how you were talking to me because that's how I talk as well. She said it was on her mind, and so does Kiki. But then Stormy bring up, well, at least they don't call you ghetto for speaking of your mind. I want Stormy to let it go. I know that all the comments of people making fun of her accent and everything else, how they call her ghetto. Listen, Stormy, either embrace it or don't feed into it. Leave it alone. Because you could accept being ghetto, but you are a ghetto one with a business. You got your own house, a whole estate. You got a business. You got a husband. Girl, you doing a damn thing. They can call you ghetto, but they can't knock your pocketbooks. And Kiki said, listen, folks talk about me. You know what I'm saying? People gonna say stuff. They call me from the opposite side of the tracks. I guess that's the same thing. Because I remember Kiki does want to move forward. But she was not completely resolved with how things ended with Tiffany at the spa event. She wants to have a full-blown conversation. Well, she would hold back, having to curse, having to yell, be calm, be clear to get a resolution. Stormy said, well, you really can't go at her like that because she's pregnant. Kiki said, however, that's true. But if you want people to respect the fact that you are with child, don't start no mess. And I'm with Kiki on that. That's period. Just because you pregnant don't mean, yes, I can't touch you, but I will curse you the fuck out if you keep playing with me. And that's where Kiki was. And Tiffany needs to be careful. If she did not want to get cussed out or did not want to get her ass handed to her like she did this end of the episode, she shouldn't have said anything. That's my thing. And Then there was an old saying that if you argue with the person, then there was an old saying that if you argue with the person, then that person will look like your next baby. And Kiki said, well, hey, that baby will look up, that will be a blessing if that baby come out looking like me. I said, come on, confidence. Come on now, because Kiki is a very beautiful woman. I've never heard that statement before. But of course, there have been plenty of old sayings that I have heard, I have not heard. I would not think it's that far-fetched that that cannot be true. But anyway, uh, Martell and Maurice. Martell stops by Maurice's office. He's building up his credit union and asking Martell how he's been doing financially, physically. Well, he said financially he's good. His credit score came up and emotionally fine. Kids are good, but him and Mel are always at odds. He said, for real? Yeah. Because then he brought up not being invited to his daughter's birthday, and he showed up. Melly wanted him to leave. He skipped over that he knew that it would be a conversation of him not showing of him showing up uninvited, but he skipped over that he got loud, yelled at either Melody's mother or a female family member of Mel's. Skipped over that she called the police. He said, I don't care, call the police. Skipped over that I should always be for my kid's birthday. I should always be invited. Da, 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 da. Not even hearing. No. Let me take that back. Not repeating that while you kept saying it, you kept saying you want to be with your kids and everything. Mel gave you a compromise with you can get your daughter later on the day. How's that? Skipped over all the parts that he did, but wants to blame Mel as she kept me away from my kid's birthday. She wanted to call the police. Da 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 da. Like it was such a instant switch. She wanted me to leave and she wanted to call the police, as if the reason where the police was being mentioned is because you were getting loud and mean. That's why. And you were refusing to leave an event you were not invited to, sir. Oh my God. For real. Oh, find out from the beginning. Melody did call him so he could tell his daughter happy birthday. Didn't no one want to say that. But then not telling Maurice that when he did get the opportunity to get his daughter, he didn't take it. He said he'll get her Monday. Asshole. I was not paying attention at all in this conversation because they never talk about nothing, okay? Maurice is like, I want y'all to find y'all way back because it's about the kids. Don't want the kids to see that it's getting bad. Don't want and make it noticeable for the kids to see their parents not getting along. They've already seen that, okay? They already seen that. So I just don't like the fact that Marcel and Maurice do not call him out. They do not hold him accountable. He needs to stop playing games and deal with it. I mean, Maurice says he now realized that the steps that he's made has caused him to go backwards and not take a step forward in being a much better place with Mel while raising their children. Then it led to Martell bringing up Junior. How's everything with Junior? Maurice wants to find something for Junior to do so he can be motivated. Okay, he needs to get a grip on getting good grades, clean up his room. It's so easy for Maurice to say it, but it's not clicking for him to actually implement it on him. To the point where does your son do make his bed up in the morning when he goes to school? If not, fix it. It was something else. Oh, right. The whole motivation. Was it just me or did Maurice have the same problem with Monster last season? When it came down to the motivation. Because he felt like his son don't get up and do anything. But when it came down to activities he did, he's in sports. Like he's active in everything. Football, D1 basketball, track. So I'm looking at Maurice like, what else do you want your son to do? Because last season you had a problem with him not being motivated, but yet he's been very active in sports. This season, you're worried about him not doing his schoolwork. I don't know what I'm confused. Is Maurice looking for an issue without him feeling like he is the issue? Because that's where I'm not sensing. I'm not getting that Maurice looking at himself, that he's the problem. Like either Maurice has no idea how to deal with his teenage son, being rebellious, don't want to listen, don't know how to implement balance. I don't know. Because then he brings in society. I don't want my son to get a hard lesson in society that's not going to be so lenient, that's not going to be so easy, that's not going to be like, okay, slap on the wrist. No, they'll come at you hard. I said, well, Maurice, you have to teach him. Don't just tell him. Show him. Tell him. Teach him. Oh my God. Put more of an effort to be a parent. You can't just say things. You have to do things as well. Kids are not going to know what you're saying if you don't teach them, if you don't explain things to them. Then when he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, he takes away, his PlayStation, his Xbox. If he streams, he takes away his monitor. If any of that does not wake him up, then what are you doing? Does Maurice want to be in the mindset of being his child's friend versus a parent? I don't know. So then, how did Martell, transition from being to where he was growing up to how he is now? Since Junior is 16, Martell said he was bad as hell. Getting into fights, switching to alternative schools, not paying attention to his education, obviously having a hard time taking the open book test, we see. So he put his mind to different things like ROTC and sports, considering that he did not have structure at home. Obviously, his father wasn't there and his mom was working, did not want to stop and explain things to him. He had to self motivate himself. But that's Martell with no actual help at all. Maurice is there. Kimmy's there. His mom's there. His stepdad's there. Junior has a village. He has help. But the one person who is not implementing that is Maurice. It's Maurice. Get it together, get together. Then Maurice talked about his dog named Peaches that always ignoring him, never listened to him. Then when he told Peach to go somewhere, Peaches went the opposite way, ran out to the street and got hit by a car. He's using that example of I don't want my son to live that fate. I said I don't know why you would use a dog for that to put more into putting more effort into your son. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, it is time for Mel's tea party. The etiquette coach is teaching Melody on how to host when they enter the room, let them sit, and how to pour tea. A lot of etiquette lessons, right? Because the reason why this tea had to happen is because a lot happened at the spa. Tiffany was yelling, knowing that she's pregnant. Stormy came in, and Kiki came in. So right now we need to look for a more positive way to communicate effectively and respectfully. She did tell the ladies to invite a plus one, the more the merrier. All right. So she wants the ladies to learn that this is a space where they can all be comfortable. They can all learn to listen, have open communication, and we have to improve that. How can we improve that? We have to make sure that the people that are around them are comfortable and they know how to be comfortable around you. So Stormy opened up with she likes to curse a lot, you know, and she wants to be comfortable when she talk about things, and she also wants other people to be comfortable with who they are and if they got something to say. Now, I don't know if the coach explained it correctly or if this is how she truly felt when she said that if you curse, it means you're lacking in vocabulary. I disagree with that. I can carry an intellectual conversation. I can use big words. I can use smaller words. But if a conversation needs a cuss word or two, then I'm going to use it. It don't mean I'm lacking vocabulary. Sometimes when you need to get your point across, a curse word might jump in there. I don't like that shit. That shit pisses me the fuck off. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm sorry. See how it just rolls off? Sometimes, yes, but I'm not lacking any type of vocabulary because I can't not use a cuss word. I think there's a time and place when a cuss word needs to be implemented because at the spa event, there was no need for Stormy to cuss at Kiki at a spa. That part, time and place to use cuss words is the right lesson. And Stormy feels like when she curses with passion. She likes what she's saying. She doesn't mean to offend. Again, Stormy, you can have that, but time and place. Learn how to use time and place as a way for you to put a curse word out. Because other people could feel like, what's the point of you cussing at me? You yelling at me? You know what I'm saying? That's all. Um, think the etiquette coach says if that's how you are, that's how you communicate, cool. Miss Nell said, okay, this is all nice and dandy, but what's the root? Let's get to the root of the issue here. I know majority of the ladies, but I sense tension in the group. Melody said, what tension are you feeling? What energy?
the energy between you and Stormy. So now it's like, I ain't trying to sugarcoat nothing. We got to get to the bottom of this now. So when Nell opened up that there are issues that needs to be addressed, Miss Betty want to come in being rude by saying, do you think that the energy is between her and Stormy, or is it between her and Stormy's mother? It came out of left field because Nell didn't know who Stormy's mother was, and that's when Miss Betty want to come in and say, yeah, that's me. So if I have an issue, I will address it. I don't need you to come out and say anything. Now, of course, Melly was surprised that there was an issue between Miss Betty and her. She didn't know. Now, when it came down to what was the issue, it was off of social media. Now, I wish that Stormy would have told her mother to calm down and approach it differently, because she was being extremely rude to Miss Nell by telling her, if you don't know about the situation, you don't need to speak up. Don't talk about things you know nothing about. But Miss Nell didn't say anything. She didn't give an opinion. She didn't give any details of the issue. She just said that I know that there's tension. And that's what she said. Now Stormy wanted to also come in and tag team with her mother by telling Nell, which was no better, by telling her, my mom doesn't want you to speak. No, I get that, but she doesn't want you to talk about it. Because she has the issue, she will address it, but in order for her to address it, she wants you to not talk. It's required of you not to talk. But I'm like, Stormy, who are you talking to? You talking to a grown ass woman. You don't tell her what she can and cannot speak on. And listen, even if she doesn't have the actual details, she was well within her rights to talk about the issue or there's tension. I'm not blind. I can see that there's tension in the room. So I'm going to speak up and say something. You're trying to come at Nell rude and disrespectful by telling her to not talk about something when she hasn't said anything. So the fact that your mother was rude the way she came at Nell, you were also rude by telling her not to speak. So the etiquette coach told Stormy, you cut off Nell when she was trying to talk to your mother, because your mother said, I'm a big girl. No. Nell, when Stormy told Nell that she wanted her to stop talking, Nell said, I can handle it. I'm a big girl. You don't have to sugarcoat anything for me to understand. I get that part. But it was still rude of Stormy to tell her that. And she cut off Nell when Nell was the one talking. And as far as like don't know what to talk about, Stormy, you knew what your mother was talking about because you wanted your mom to be there. Even in the confessional, your mom has had issues with Mel for a while, and this was a perfect opportunity for you to bring your mother to address the issue. So you can miss me with that. So, um, Miss, as far as the issue, Mel didn't know what the issue was, so she asked Miss Betty, "Can you explain to me what the issue you have with me?" Now the issue is the secret recording. Now it keeps flashing back to Destiny playing the recording of Mel on an interview that she doesn't care who Martell is dating. But at the same time, when that recording came, everybody was in the comments, the fans, people who enjoyed the show, assumed it was Stormy. And Miss Betty felt away, and Mel did not come out and say it wasn't Stormy. Mel did address it by saying that person did not come into my home and recorded me. She didn't come out directly and say it wasn't Stormy. But at the same time, with people coming in the comments assuming it was Stormy, Melody has been through the same thing. You know, people talk about her every day. She can't control what they say. And it ended up with Miss Betty saying, let me shut you down with this, now shut up. She wasn't talking to Mel when she said that. The trailer that had it look like that, I think either Miss Betty was talking to Nell, or Miss Betty wanted that type of energy of Melody shutting down the people who accused or who assumed that it was Stormy who recorded her. Now, the main issue is Miss Bay don't like the way that Mel does things. I get it. Mel's passive aggressive. Mel says things indirectly, not directly, but she knows how it will spin, and she will end up still being the fall guy. She'll still end up being the bad guy. So she chooses the way she says things. Could she have come out and say it wasn't Stormy? Yes, but that still doesn't fall on Melody to do. If Stormy didn't record her, Stormy should come out and say it wasn't me. You know, Miss Betty, you all over the Facebook pages of the Love and Marriage Huntsville groups. You could have said that wasn't my daughter. Leave my daughter alone. You could have defended that. But why are you expecting for Melody to defend your daughter when your daughter could defend herself? That's the part. And y'all need to develop thicker skin when you're on a reality show that people are gonna talk about you. They are gonna say things. I can't control what people say about other people versus in how I cannot control what they say about me. Hello, that's what Mel is dealing with. So you're gonna have to miss me with that. Um, yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. The fact that Miss Betty wanted to place all of that responsibility on Mel when your daughter has a social media platform as well. She has a presence too. She can shut it down anytime. Don't put that on Mel. That's not Mel's responsibility of anybody else who has something to say about anybody on the show. But I'm gonna move on because that wasn't the only issue that Miss Betty have of Mel. She's had multiple issues. The first issue was the issue that I saw on Stormy's interview with Carlos, that she didn't like the way that Melody agreed with her that her grandson was spoiled. Now we got this issue with Mel didn't defend Stormy, that she didn't record her. Miss Betty, pick an issue and stick with it. But I feel like you needed a more reasonable issue that you can drag and over explain and add things to it to make it bigger than what it was. Because at the end of the day, this is not that much of an issue. But moving on, this is when Kiki decides to address Tiffany because she's felt like Tiffany's been lying. Now, when she opened up the conversation, she said, Tiffany, what the hell are you trying to do? Now, that's probably Kiki's character, where she ain't gonna sugarcoat shit. She ain't gonna super sweet nothing. What are you trying to do? They told her, stay pretty, be calm. What are you trying to do? Okay? Tiffany, main objective. I only knew of you based off of how Tisha came into her home and expressed how you did her. I get along with everybody. I don't entertain bullshit. I protect my energy. Underneath Kiki's breath, she said, you just spew it. You spew bullshit. And since everything that happened between Kiki and Tisha, Tiffany doesn't want to be in any type of space with Kiki where it could develop into a friendship, a more cordial relationship, because how you can throw your cousin under the bus, you can throw me under the bus. All good sentiments, all good reasons to not fool with someone, Tiffany, but I felt like you put 20 on 10 for you to have an issue as if something was done to you. Nothing was done to you for you to write off Kiki over something that happened with Tisha, but I still don't think you got the full story. And I could be sensitive because I have gotten to know Kiki through her lives and where she came from, her history. That's probably where I'm at with it. And as far as like saying that I don't know you, I know of you, and that's it. So Kiki said, fine, that's cool. We've never had to speak again. I'm fine with that. But let me educate you on knowing of someone and knowing someone. Tiffany said she don't need to be educated. Kiki said, girl, you clearly do. Then she calls her a poor, pitiful, sad soul. I fell to the floor. That was funny. Kiki was ready. She was on go. Now, I felt like this entire scene was chopped and edited where it could have been like, that wasn't necessary. Where did that come from? Who put that there? There had to have been more than that. 'Cause I feel like Kiki was on edge the entire time. And she probably had a reason to. So, like she said, knowing of someone is never meeting them, probably seeing them in passing, never had a full conversation. But knowing someone is spending time conversating, getting to know them, and that's where we were. I've had many of exchanges with you. In the confessional, she said she's known Tiffany for years. Her son used to play on Lewis's baseball team. And then in the scene, she said, you and my mother have talked many times at my son's games. You've met my daughter. You've even met my in-laws. So this whole time you only know of me, but you don't know me? That don't make no sense. Then you talked about how every time that Kiki introduced herself, it was someone else's friend. It was never Tisha's cousin. That was a lie. And Tiffany said, I only said that because you did introduce yourself in the group only as Mel's friend, but I feel like you should introduce yourself as Tisha's cousin. I'm gonna call you out on that though, Tiffany, because we first met Kiki as Tisha's cousin back what season 2, season 3. We knew who Kiki was because it said it under the caption when she was in the scene. So for that, no, I'm not gonna give you that one. That's a lie. um, then Tiffany defending the fact that she never fully had a personal conversation with Kiki. She never sat down with her. She never did anything of that nature. But then Kiki said, "How is it that you never did anything like that with me when I was on a whole crusade of helping you find your father?" So right now we flash back to either last season or the season before that when Tiffany was on the search of finding her father. She asked Mel's help, and it's a sit down with her and Kiki. A never before seen clip that we should have seen that would have made a lot of sense of Kiki offering her resources to help Tiffany find her father. She said she has close friends in Utah who know a lot of people there. Maybe I can hit them up and see what they can dig up any information. So I was like, wow, that's interesting. Because Tiffany mentioned the follow up meeting. Melly was there. Kiki admitted it. But that's kind of a lot to do for someone that you don't know. I don't know. It's just me because if Tiffany felt familiar to ask Mel for help, Melody felt familiar to ask Kiki for help, then Tiffany and Kiki could have been familiar for more than for more than a time for that setup to happen. You know what I'm saying? So if I try to use my resources to help you to figure out how to find somebody that you care about, I wouldn't think that it would have been just a you don't know me. Then it led to Kimmy and Tiffany tag teaming her with did you follow up? Did you follow up? Now Kiki's getting irritated. She said, did she? It's her father, not mine. I felt two ways. I felt like Tiffany, if you accepted Kiki's help to find your father, help look for the information she offered, you should have asked her, Kiki, have you discovered anything since our last meetup? Did you look? Did you call your resources? And if Kiki was to say, "Girl, I did," no, girl, I didn't. But it was also on Kiki's side to let her know what she did find because she did offer follow up. I think follow follows on both sides. If Tiffany accepted it, it should have been on her mind to still ask for it and still inquire about it because it is a father that she's looking for. Kiki did offer. It should have been up to her to follow through. That's my thing right there. But I didn't like the fact that Kiki wanted to correct Kim. No, Kimmy wanted to correct Kiki about what did she did, what did she say. I felt like Kimmy, sit back, sit back, sit back, sit back. I don't want you involved in this. I did not like that. Okay, and then Kiki heard what the shade was, and yes, I've always known who my dad was. When I first heard the scene, heard that statement, I said, "Damn, that was a dig," but I wasn't mad at it though. Because I just feel like Tiffany, who don't know how families work, shouldn't have a statement, shouldn't have an opinion of someone else's family when you don't even have that. And I'm gonna hit you with you don't even have a daddy, but I do. But then when I watched it again, the way that Kiki answered with, and yes, I've always known who my dad was. Either it must have been a question that Kiki answered in that scene, and they chopped that part just to get that answer to make it seem as if she was targeting Tiffany. I don't know. It could be two ways, but the camera are not fans of Kiki right now. So, mm, I did say that I did not like that Kimmy wanted to come in, get a clear understanding of what Kiki said. I said, Kimmy, stay out of it. Don't come back with that energy where you're not giving it to Maurice. Now, Melly did call out that Kiki was out of pocket for saying that about her son. I mean, about her father. Now, the etiquette coach wanted everybody to calm down and figure out a way to communicate or to check somebody without calling them out. And she said that Kiki did a low blow by saying that she knew her daddy and that Tiffany didn't know hers, which was a dig. It didn't help that everybody wanted to hold Kiki to the fire. It absolutely was a dig. I feel like Kimmy had more of an issue with it than everybody because she don't like Kiki. That's what I'm thinking. And Tiffany thought she was going to be safe. by saying the things that she said and not get called out because Tiffany doesn't want to remember that she's pregnant. And that's where Kiki was coming from. Don't put yourself in a situation where you can get cussed the fuck out. And I wouldn't care because you're pregnant. Because you didn't care that you was pregnant when you want to cause an issue. Now, in this scene, Kiki did backpedal with it wasn't a dig. It was, she apologized. She corrected and said that wasn't my intent. But the apology didn't sit well with Kimmy. I said, Kimmy, don't take this fight on. It's not your fight. Don't do that. Maybe she felt like she had to because Tiffany was pregnant. But I feel like you don't even like Tiffany either. But again, Tiffany felt like she wouldn't get touched because she's pregnant. Tiffany, please be careful. Be careful, okay? Um, this tea, it showed a lot. It showed that everybody isn't perfect. Everybody had an issue to bring out to everyone. The etiquette coach says they're not perfect. Everybody has a chance to grow and do better. But maybe it wasn't a lot of resolvement because there was no resolvement between Miss Betty and Mel. As far as the resolvement between Kiki and Tiffany, it ain't gonna go no good either. You know what I'm saying? But it led to Melody giving gift bags. And that was the end of the episode. This Saturday is supposed to be even more mess that Tiffany is working extremely hard for this check. I'm not mad that she's working hard to get this check, but it's annoying me that the way that she went about to be this messy is not sitting with me. Maybe because I developed more of a sensitive soft spot for Kiki, and the way that the editing of Kiki is not really in the best light. It's just still putting her in the fact that she's trying so hard to get on the show and as if she doesn't belong on the show, and that the way that she came at Tisha was plotted or planned. But I'm not going to place Kiki out to be the bad guy when Tisha does foul things too. Everybody on this show has said some things, partaked in things, been messy about some things. That's where I'm at. But y'all, that's it. That's all I have. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'm going to see you guys later.